Well, we're going to be traveling with Abram, later to be Abraham, in the book of Genesis for a while. It's good to hear that some families can resolve disputes peacefully, as is the case between Abram and his nephew Lot. There's just too many people, there's too many sheep for the land they have, and so they peacefully separate from one another. And Abram gives Lot first choice. Where do you want to go? And Lot looks out and says, oh, that looks so good over there. And so he settles beside Sodom and Gomorrah. So there's trouble to come, but details will follow. Let's put our attention on the gospel reading today, continuing the Sermon on the Mount. We have basically what we might call proverbs. We have three proverbs, three little sayings, wise sayings that one can easily remember. For us, the easiest to remember is the golden rule. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Jesus says it sums up the whole law and the prophets and is foundational to the ethical stance even beyond people of faith. So that's one we treasure and hold. And we have deepened our understanding of that through our commandment of loving our neighbor as ourselves. Do not throw your pearls before swine. Well, sometimes you hear that phrase used. Pearls were very valuable then as now. So valuable that Jesus would tell a story later in the Gospels about the merchant who would sell everything to buy this beautiful pearl, the pearl of great price. And on the other hand, the swine, given the dietary laws of the Jewish people, the swine were dirty, impure. The prodigal son knew he had hit bottom when he ran away from home and ended up as a swineherd, wishing that he could feed on food as good as the swine were receiving. So to throw pearls before swine, to degrade ourselves, to throw away our dignity as children of God before others, in ways that debase ourselves in word and deed, we who have the dignity of being God's children. And finally, entering through the narrow gate, as opposed to the broad road or the easy way, the narrow gate and the easy way. Our martyrs today surely chose the narrow, go in through the narrow gate, the narrow road. They could easily have said when asked by His Majesty the King, follow me, against their own faith convictions, but they said, no, we cannot go down the broad road that so many followed. We're going to choose the narrow path, knowing it would mean martyrdom for them. And we honor them as martyrs today. Fortunately, our choices are usually not that dramatic, but we have choices all the time between the narrow, the more difficult path, and the broad and easier path. To choose love over hatred, to choose forgiveness over hurt. These are the kind of choices we make. One I think we might reflect on, to choose humility over pride. If there's one thing that Jesus has revealed to us about God in himself and in his life and ministry, in his death and resurrection, it's the humility of God who emptied himself out to become one of us and to walk with us. And to serve us, to be the servant of all. Humility means we have no need to try to prove ourselves to anybody, because we know our value and dignity in God's eyes, and that is true of everybody we meet as well. So the humble person doesn't have that need that so many have to follow down that road of trying always to prove ourselves and our importance, and can choose simply to be ourselves as children of God and follow through that narrow gate, down that narrow path. Jesus embodies that perfectly, and nowhere is that better seen than in what we do at this moment. We come here, and in the most humble of ways, Christ Jesus, the very incarnation of God, the Word made flesh, comes among us in the most humble way to feed, nourish, strengthen, and sustain us, so that as we go through this day and every day, we can choose not the easy way always, but the narrow way, the right way.